Corey Piper Joe here with you. We're just going to talk about how often you should work out, recovery when you do work out, kind of how to balance those two, and probably lead into something that I'm sure some people are familiar with, and that is the Atomic Habits 1%. How do you get whatever the math is, like 242% better? That's right. You improve 1% every day.
Yeah.
So
isn't it 365% better by the end of the year?
No, because of the compound.
Oh yeah, because you're like 1%. Okay, that makes sense.
And I don't know what it is in a year, or maybe it's only like 26% better. I don't remember what it was.
I think I have Atomic Habits either up there.
Yeah, it's up there.
I haven't read it yet.
And it's just being 1% better because it compounds. And so just doing one thing each day when you're trying to get started is better than delaying your start. Essentially, is what the
to try to make
is
everything perfect.
Yeah, it's progress. Perfect is the enemy of progress.
That's right.
This is a little bit following off of Very Not Random podcasts.
Adrian Bosman. Who's the other guy? What's his name?
Adrian Bosman, I believe it is Pat Sherwood.
Okay.
And then Sean Woodland and Nate Marquez have a podcast as well.
Everyone has podcasts.
We need a podcast.
Yeah. Due to lack of ideas from our audience, probably just going to listen to stuff during the week and then
Talk about it.
recover it in our language for our members and our people that are listening to us.
One of our questions did have to do with like recovery when you take a rest day. So this is kind of on, I guess it kind of flows. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, and we had talked about the recovery one when it was just me and Piper, and as we said then, we were going to cover all of them again. I'm going to go ahead and speak for Corey here. How does he know when he's going to work out? It's a day.
Usually it has to end in a Y or begin with another letter of the alphabet.
Yeah. That's generally his determination on whether he works out or not. Kidding, but also not really.
Kind of not.
He's going to do something. He may not always lift with the barbell or anything like that. That's what works for him. Piper?
Yeah. Sorry. I had a hard time waking up this morning. I get in as much as I can. Sometimes my schedule with my other job and school doesn't really let me make it in the hours the gym is open. And sometimes, by 8, 9 o'clock at night, the last thing I want to do is come here by myself and work out in the cold. Which I've thought about before, but I was like, I don't know, especially when it's a rough workout. So I try to make it in 5 times a week. Sometimes it's 5 days in a row. Sometimes it's 6 days in a row. Sometimes it's 3 and 2 or whatever. It gets hard sometimes. But usually if I'm like really tender and I have a bunch of other stuff going on, I'm like, yeah. See you guys tomorrow.
Rest day.
For me, it's pretty much, I'm going to try to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Inevitably by Wednesday, I'm feeling a little shot. And honestly, I've pushed enough responsibilities that they end up snowballing and kind of hitting me on Wednesday that I got to catch up.
Effect.
So I'm a little overtrained. I'm a little over distracted, and so a lot of times my rest day will get shifted to Wednesday, and then Thursday's kind of, I feel like I'm supposed to be resting, so I don't really go hard. Friday's generally a good day. Saturday, if we get in here for comp training, is a good day. And then Sunday's a rest day. But Saturday, if we don't do comp training, it's by the time I've coached class, then you have the mess and the people in here. So and it's just really hard for my anxiety for me to get started. I have to kind of have a clean slate when I come into the gym. And that's just, as an owner, it exacerbates my social anxiety and stuff like that. And then I get dirty and just all the people, and it's just chaos, and it's just OCD, anxiety.
When you come in,
triggers me,
and there's already a lot going on.
Yeah,
I think
I just freak out.
You've mentioned before that stresses you out.
And so on Saturday, if I hadn't gotten a workout in, it's not going to happen. I'm going to clean, or I'm going to go in my office and work. So a lot of times Saturday I'll get cut as well. And Sunday, I used to jump in and do some conditioning, but I haven't even been doing that recently. So that's our workout schedule. Should that be yours? No, of course not. But you've got 3 coaches up here. two of us do this full time, the other doesn't. And what you saw is that schedules are different. It's how our body responds to training. It's our age. It's our, work-life balance, other desires. So all those things have to be defined for you, in my opinion.
Before you can figure out what's going to work for you
Yep.
best. Yeah.
And then I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it as a shock because it's going to be like Corey, right? He works out every day. So what I would say is that if you're actually going with intensity, most people can't work out more than 2 to 3 days in a row.
No. And
Even the 1 hour class, even what we put in class
It's too
with
much.
actual hardcore intensity, if you are doing anything else in your life besides being a fitness coach and fitness worker-outer person, it's too much.
And I would say even like,
And if you say you can, I would say your intensity isn't where it needs to be.
yeah, and I have days where I definitely feel that, and that's so. I think I told someone last week, my kind of rule of thumb is I'll do my, and I've been getting better at it. If I feel bad, like today, I'm pretty sore from that workout you came in on yesterday.
I don't know why. It was only 60 rounds.
I know, right?
Jesus.
So like today, I feel pretty beat up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through some like light stretches, maybe some empty barbell work, do like a warm up. And if I still don't feel good after the warm up, it's gonna be a chill day.
I was literally going to interrupt you and say, until someone asks you to do something stupid, and then you're going to just say, screw
I mean,
it.
some-
And throw the weight on there and let's go.
Maybe sometimes I do that. And like I want to, for anyone out there, like I know that is not the best way to do things. But for me, like getting in here or getting anywhere, getting some kind of movement and workout or sweat, for me is more of a here.
Yeah.
Then I know it's not the best way to like get stronger, get faster, get better at this, but for me it's more of a mental thing that I need to do something every day. And that's good and bad. It's like, it's like we talked, what was that yesterday?
Well, there's no
There's no gray area for me.
well, I know, I'd agree with that, but it's just like, there's never going to be a decision that's 100% positive.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can talk about supplements. We can talk about, there's not anything that's really always going to be 100%
yes.
positive.
And I'm a lot better in the summer when I can like, if I'm feeling beat up, I throw my headphones in and I'm like, hey man, I'm just gonna go for like a couple hour bike ride.
Yeah.
If you don't live in Missouri, it's currently what, 31 degrees?
35.
Yeah.
35? So bike ride probably won't happen today.
I came up, there were no cars, and I was like, I guess he could have rode his bike, and I was like,
My fingers get cold.
I wouldn't have. But and the other thing I'd say is, right, so we said you're not really going to be able to handle more than 3 days in a row of the intensity that we would hope you'd be giving in here. That doesn't mean automatically that fourth day's off. It means that fourth day becomes 70%.
Yeah, pull back. Maybe use it to work on positioning.
Positioning,
still, or just kind of easy.
better quality movement.
Yeah.
A lot of times lighter can be faster, but not if you're mentally present saying, yes, this is lighter, but I'm not going to go faster.
Yeah.
I'm going to intentionally go slow. And that's listen, that is ridiculously hard to do in a class setting
It is.
if you are actually the person that approaches the workouts with intensity, because you're clearly competitive.
Yeah.
You clearly want to win.
Well, you see people going.
And you want to push yourself, and then you get in here and you're like, oh, it's a 70% day. It's probably not going to last. So I realize saying it in theory and saying it in practice, what happens, and that I'd love to see you every day. You have to know yourself. Obviously, we've got open gym time for you. But yeah, that's it's not that you have to do nothing. So CrossFit's protocol is 3 on, 1 off. That's where we're getting the 3 days from. Greg Glassman has some, I'm sure, of course, eloquent quote about it.
Is it 3-1, 2-1?
So that's the competitors'
Okay.
training schedule, and that's generally what I try to follow, which is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So 3 work days, 1 day off, 2 work days, 1 day off.
I think that's a good. Like if you're, like you say, going intense, if you're going hard, that's good because usually you got your 3 and 1, then you got your 2, and by that second day, trying to jump in a third one, I don't know. You might have a little bit.
It's generally not going as well. And, you know, obviously this is your relative intensity. So I could walk in and I watch Corey and I think he's killing himself, right? Because he's doing really well. He's moving weight. But for Corey, that may be his relative intensity today. So that's not for me to judge. That's for him to judge. Just because you work out 7 days in a week and you win 7 workouts doesn't mean all of them were at 100%.
Must be nice.
Yeah. I have no idea what that's like.
But then we did a stupid snatchy mom, and I almost kill over.
Yeah. So you can't judge somebody else again just because they beat you and then tell them that they weren't having intensity.
Yeah.
And so this is only one workout a day, right? And 1 hour of working out is what we're talking about.
Once we get
when we start talking about extended sessions, 92 or 2 sessions where you're in here 3+ hours a day, my real answer on that is, okay, if you're a competitive athlete or trying really hard to be a competitive athlete. So who is that in here? It's you and Mike, because you're the only ones that qualified and accepted your qualification.
Yeah.
And it would be anybody else that didn't qualify, but is trying to.
Yeah.
But if you qualified and declined your invite,
Not a competitive.
I don't know how you call yourself a competitive athlete. And I know I'm gonna hurt some feelings here, but what are you doing?
Well, it's the conversation we had of, and one of the frustrating parts for us as coaches is if you tell us you want something,
Yeah.
we are 100%, but like we are in it to win it with you. Like,
Yeah.
if Piper decides that she wants to be a motocross champion and she needs to do workouts to get her to be the champion of motocross, like we are diehard with it, man.
Yeah.
But as soon as your actions suggest otherwise, like we get frustrated.
Yeah.
What'd you use? You said like blue. You say you want to be blue. We're going to help you be blue.
Yeah.
As soon as you start acting purple, we're like, why the hell aren't you trying to be blue? What's going on?
Yeah. And all it takes is a conversation, and that's it's something that's been disappointing me since the Open. It's going to continue to sit with me, and it'd be one thing if there weren't retests in order to get there, just so you could turn down your qualification. I don't understand that at all. And back to what we said, listen, if you need to be in here 3 hours because it's your mental vacation and you just happen to be a good competitor, hey, listen, it's your journey. I know that I cast a judgment just a second ago, but that's just because I don't clearly understand your goals. That's not a you are wrong thing. That's a I don't understand. Your goals don't make sense to me in the way that they've been explained. So keep doing you. Makes you happy. Go for it. But when we're talking about like how to become a competitor or all these other things, I think be wary of causation versus correlation, and like seeing people train for 3 hours or 4 hours just because they're good doesn't mean training 3 to 4 hours is what made them good.
Yeah.
You can get really, really good at this sport if you come in here an hour a day and give us intensity.
Oh man, back when I would say like I've had a lot of phases of doing this, and I've been competitive, I guess, in slightly different ways. I've been a lot better at other things. Anyways, when I was in, I think like my just top peak performance shape, that's what I would do. I would come in, I'd do 1 hour, I'd do the class workout, and it was like I would hammer it as hard as I could go. People were like, what else are you doing? I'm like, nothing, man. That's all I had today.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like I was able to keep up with people who spent a lot more time in the gym.
Well, and a perfect example of going on right now, and we talked about this, and I don't want to give him any more big of a head, but Mike, he comes in, he does his 1 hour.
Yep. What, like 3-4 times a week?
Yep.
Yeah.
He crushes himself. Everybody sees him huffing and puffing at the fan.
Him and that fan, man.
He's gonna go absolutely hard for his hour. There's not many people that are gonna beat him in a workout.
Right. And that's all he does. He doesn't stay and do 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
He's got to
of
get back to
additional
work. He's got to
Right.
roll.
Yep. So you don't need 3 hours in here. You can have 3 hours in here. I do 3 hours. Nobody's gonna confuse me with a super high intensity. It's my number one thing to fix. If I had the answer, I'd already be doing it. I have a lot of excuses why I don't have intensity, and I'm going to keep working on it. So yeah, I just wanted to get back to it. Like, I think a lot of people see CrossFit and they think, I need to commit to this great schedule, or my friend does it and they're good, but they're training 2.5, 3 hours a day. Is that the expectation with CrossFit? No, the expectation is we see you 3 to 5 times a week for an hour.
And you just like when you're in here, you just going hard.
And as you're starting your 3 to 5, maybe one of them is that super big intense day.
Yeah.
Until we get used to it. And this is the thing that always gets the rub in CrossFit, and that is intensity. Relative intensity to your threshold. Physiological and psychological tolerance. That is different for every single person, and it's different on every single day. But pushing that line will absolutely 100% get you whatever you say you actually want in here, as long as you're not completely wasting your 23 hours. And so if you're not getting what you want, which of those variables that you control are holding you back?
Yeah.
Your intensity or your other 23 hours?
And if that's
Because the program works.
Yeah, I'll say if that's something you honestly like, if you just, because you got to take a second,
Yeah.
you got to reach deep down, and you got to say, okay, do I honestly not know why I'm not getting results, or do I know, just don't want to admit it? Like,
Yeah, and I'm okay with it.
right. And if you're okay with it, it is what it is. If you honestly,
Maintenance is a very worthy goal.
Oh, 100%.
I wouldn't even say it at any age. You are getting older, is getting harder to be what you are.
Right.
Every single day that goes by. So just being not worse
just same level, just not declining.
is an amazing feat.
It's the third law of thermodynamics, man.
Yeah.
Everything's always in a constant state of decay.
Yep.
Is that right? I think that's right. I think that's right. Google
I'm not
it
a
at home.
I don't know, but
Teacher?
the last question by Isaac Asimov was talking about entropy and like using a supercomputer to answer the question of entropy and can you reverse it? And it's a long story and I won't spoil it. It's not long. It's 15 minutes. But yeah, it's interesting that essentially the computer basically said, no, you can't. But it's the unsolvable
Entropy
thing.
is chaos.
Yeah.
That's how it's quantified in chemistry.
So
We just got so deep on it.
yeah, we did.
But it's like the real thing with all that is if you can look at your entire 23 hours that you're not in here, or even the hour, look at your 24 hours, including the hour you're in here, and you do not know why, ask your coach. Because I'm gonna bet if we go over your entire day, we could figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And I'll also say, like, hey, you don't belong to this gym or any gym right now, and somehow you found the most wisdomous podcast, vlog,
This
YouTube,
one, the
ever,
most, just,
with the most attractive and entertaining people you've ever seen.
I mean, he's not wrong.
And you're like, man, I just don't have the time. One, you're a liar. Two,
I got math here.
we have an at-home track. Message me. I'll get you in Sugar Wad. You can do our at-home stuff because I can guarantee you I can find 30 minutes where you're scrolling or doing something that is not at all getting you where you want to be. So you really want to start working, don't have money, say you don't have time, can't drive, don't have equipment, still got you. I'm not telling you it's not going to be the most interesting
I say it won't be the
Yeah.
most
variety,
mentally stimulating workout,
but it's a workout.
it's better
and it's
than
something.
nothing.
It's a checklist, and then you're gonna log it. And as long as I'm friends with you, you're gonna get a fist bump. You're gonna get a follow up. You're gonna get that cheap little dopamine that makes you want to come back the next day, do it again. And I know it's stupid, but that small little fist bump can keep people going. But that small little fist bump can keep people going.
I'll say, if it's
because
if
you
it
know
is, it is,
somebody's
man.
watching you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for everybody, but maybe it works for you.
I'm always like, who didn't fist bump me today?
Yeah.
It's always me.
And it's like
I never fist bump.
how do you get started? And that we're bringing it back to what we said at the very beginning, that 1%. Just move the needle a little bit closer to where you want, and you've got some
I've got some
math,
math. So-
basically that we're talking about here.
Basically, so at home, I have a 53-pound kettlebell
Yep.
at home. I haven't even thought, how long do you think it'd take to do 50 kettlebell swings? Just for time, just 50.
To American with my shoulder right now, a lot. I don't know.
You think a couple minutes?
Yeah.
2-3 minutes. So we'll say Piper Slam, she's got 48 credit hours.
God damn.
Ah, she's slammed.
I'm gonna have nightmares about that course load.
I think that's forbidden. That's crazy.
Okay. We'll say you got a full schedule, you got a full-time job. You can't get in here and work out. If you can carve, we'll say that. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. We'll just say she's real slow, and it takes her a minute per 10.
Yeah.
She does 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She does 50 kettlebell swings 3 times a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, versus 0 kettlebell swings and no workouts.
Mm-hmm.
So from January 1 to December 31, right? If she doesn't do anything, she lifts 0 pounds.
Yep.
But if you do 50 kettlebell swings 3 times a week for the entire year, it's 413,400 pounds. So it's like what they were talking about in Very Not Random, where maybe with these 50 kettlebell swings 3 times a week, she's not going to go to the games. But man, 413,400 pounds is way more pounds lifted than 0.
Yep.
So it just like looking at it, and they're going to get faster.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that we're talking about no compound results there, which that is assuming a linear flat output.
Yeah. So we're
If
going to
you
say
start there, it's not gonna end there.
right, and like that's the best part about like human body is like she's going to adapt. So maybe in the 5 minutes she can only start with 50 swings. But then within the first 2 months, now in 5 minutes, now in 5 minutes you could do 70.
Yep.
And by the end of the year, in 5 minutes, she could do 100, 150. Like it's compounding, and that's the neat part about all this. Even with 5 minutes, 5 minutes 3 times a week. I know you got 15 minutes per week you can dedicate to getting sweaty, just getting a little sweaty.
And again, it's not gonna be super creative. At least that one isn't.
Right.
But you have to decide what kind of person you are. There are things that are going to be more creative. I think the at-home thing that I was saying. From what I've looked at, there's enough variety there.
There's variance
to keep you going. This is a very simple way. I've told the story before. Listen, everybody knows I love push-ups.
You love push-ups.
I was
push-ups.
in high school here in town at Hickman, and the star baseball player. He had big arms. His name was Jake Whitesides. Jake, if you're watching this, thanks. I mean, honestly, bro, you're the first one that inspired me, and now I do a lifetime of coaching people.
Right.
I was, how'd you get strong? He's like, I just do 40 push-ups a night. Yeah. And that's where I started, and I did 40 push-ups a night. And you know what? The first time didn't go that well. And I was a string bean, light little kid, and I still like bored or whatever. I'm just gonna do some push-ups. I like push-ups. They're easy. That's where I just connect. So you may not need variety. Who knows? It's not for me to tell you. But start with something and just start there, and keep going. You'll surprise yourself about how quickly it starts to make a difference.
Well, and that's like one of the arguments, or I guess excuses that we hear is, you talk to people about doing this or starting this. Oh man, I'm not fit enough to do CrossFit. I'm not in shape enough to do CrossFit, which I always thought was, I thought it was hilarious. It's like trying to become a saint before you go to church. It just doesn't make a lot of like. That's the whole reason we're here.
And everybody will say, you don't go to the dentist to get told you have perfectly clean teeth.
Right. Like you
go to get your teeth clean and get it fixed and learn better processes. Blah 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 blah.
So, but if you are one of those people where you're just too anxious, you're like, man, I cannot step foot in that gym until I can hold my own. Cool, man, do it at home. Like, follow the at-home track, and then as soon as you're able to crush those workouts, come in here. Let's progress it.
CrossFit has posted a free workout of the day
for the last 100 years.
Since their inception.
When was that? 2007? 2008?
I mean, the journal I think goes all the way back to like 2003. I don't know when they started the posting the workouts. They follow 3 on, 1 off. Yes, there's going to be some times where there's heavy days. Grab objects around you. I'm not telling you it's perfect, but what did we just say? Don't let perfect be the enemy of progress. Arthur Ashe, start where you're at, use what you have, get where you can.
You figure it out.
Um,
I know everybody's got one friend they could put on their back and do squats with.
yeah. I don't know. There's
That'd actually be really
there's
hard.
there's lots of hurdles on why you can't do it. There always are going to be, this is why I can't, and they're always going to outnumber the this is why I can.
Right.
And most likely this is why I should.
Yeah.
But the one reason, because you want to, you know, you need to.
Well,
You want
it's
to
worth
see your
it.
grandkids.
At the end of the day, it's 1,000% worth the time and effort you dedicate to it. Because like I said, you see your grandkids, you can chase them around, you can pick them up, you could do things on your own.
Yep. So that would be determining when you're going to work out, starting working out. We'll switch now to recovery. Again, Corey's, how do you take a rest day? How do you decide to take a rest day, Corey?
All right.
And we kind of alluded to this, but
So again, my rest days might look slightly different than some other people's rest days. But we're gonna say I come in here, I'm beat up. I go through my warm up and I still just don't feel good. Because usually I let the warm up, like if I'm sore and feeling crusty, I'll do a warm up. Don't do what I do. Just don't do it. So if I get through my warm up and I'm still like, man, I'm still just hurting. For me, that's gonna be a longer, slower day with some built-in like stretching and or foam rolling. Doesn't happen a lot, but I might do a 45-minute EMOM. On 2 or 3 of those minutes, I'm gonna do some just easy chill stuff, and then on 2 or 3 of those minutes, I'm gonna do some stretches, Cossack squats, child's pose, whatever it is. Because I know we've talked about it, like we do have the luxury of being able to make this all encompassing. This is kind of our life. So I also have my usually go-to, it's my favorite, is sleeping. Yeah, because I'm done at 1. I'm done at 1 p.m. so I can go home and I can take me a good big usually it's like an hour-long nap. Sometimes it's a 2-hour nap. And like, it sounds silly, but we know like sleep, that's for recovery, that's number one. That is the most important thing. So if I'm feeling extra beat up, I get more sleep and I eat more food.
Yep.
Those are my 2 big things.
And I want to say this on the other part, but CrossFit Kate, I don't remember her last name, but she made a post, it was a while back, and she was like, for your regular athlete, right, you should do the minimum effective dose. For a competitive athlete, you should do the maximum recoverable dose. And I'll just go even further, like, you got to decide which one of those you want. And then appropriate your time in the gym. Same way we're talking about, are you a competitor or not a competitor, and what do your actions stay there? That's one way to look at it, but also like you want to be here in 3 hours a day. Okay. That you then have to find out, right? Because we know that's not the minimum effective dose.
Right. So
now we have to decide, how can I recover from the amount of training I'm going to put in?
Right.
And as long as you are able to sustain it, my judgment doesn't mean anything.
No. Well, but I would say anyone
But you
that's
have to
doing
be
that,
able to recover.
you're needing minimum 8 hours of sleep. I would argue you probably need 10. If
I
you're
would
in
say
here-
10. If you're in here 3 hours training hard, you need 10 hours of sleep.
Yep. You also need to be eating a ton. And if you're like, am I eating enough? The answer's no.
Yeah.
You should be.
Am I squatting low enough?
Answer's no. If you got to ask, it's no. So with that added training volume, you have more responsibility for your recovery. Foam rolling, stretching, things like that, like I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't do it, even though I would recommend it.
Yeah.
What was the ratio for every 1 hour of training? You need 2 hours of recovery.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard that, and then I would just say, like, what are you calling recovery, right? Because sleeping's recovery.
Yeah.
So for most people, you're
In
getting
that case,
that.
you need like.
So I would say, like,
12 to 1.
realistically, because we're going to count sleep. So as long as you're giving me 8 to 10 hours of sleep, I'm honestly going to say as long as you're putting about 30 minutes of recovery for each hour,
Yeah.
I'm going to be.
And
I'm
this
gonna
is
be really happy.
This is you say 30 minutes of recovery with the caveat of getting your we'll
you're
say 8
already
to
getting
10.
your sleep. You're getting your
hydration.
You're getting your nutrition.
Food. Okay, yeah. So I agree with that.
And that even may be a little steep. Again, and this is going to depend on your age, right? Like slow twitch muscle fibers is going to control like your recovery. And what is recovery? To me, it's zone 2 work. It's the cool down. It's intentional breathing. It's meditation. It's yoga. Lots of those other things, because we're not just talking about physical stress from the workout. You get physiological stress, and so you need that mental time to work through and work on your breathing and get yourself, your automatic nervous system
I used to
back
do,
into play.
like breath work, and I felt better when I.
Yeah, so I'm not telling you go get you need an hour and a half massage every day,
No.
or chiropractic work, and it literally if you're training 3 to 4 hours a day, you probably need them.
Oh, you probably need them. But
Not once a day, but like once a week. You need to have a rotation between a chiropractor, a massage therapist, a body work, or a cold tank, or cryo, or
cold tank sounds so bad.
sauna.
Sauna. I'll do the sauna.
Yeah, I mean, you find your thing. But if you're training that much, yeah, you need some work.
Yeah.
You're gonna need some supplements.
Good news is, for anyone living in Missouri, in a month or so, you'll have a free sauna outside.
Be nice. For recovery, what I always will talk about is, and I said it in the last video, Triple H, happy, hungry, horny. If you're not at least 2 of the 3, something's amiss.
And I can tell usually when my training gets maybe a little too aggressive, because my sleep will suffer, and then I notice I'm a little bit of a grumpy goose. And I could tell, if you were to come into my early morning classes and keep a chart of when I'm in a bad mood and when I'm in a good mood, you could probably see those ebbs and flows on maybe one
Correlate,
yeah.
maybe even suggest causation with amount of training volume. Yeah, and I mean, and again, Corey and I mostly, it's exercise-induced stress. Obviously, we're married, so we have other stress.
Gosh, so much stress.
I know. Threw that in just to see if you popped your head up.
So that top button came up real
Yeah,
quick.
that came up real quick.
Huh?
She's gonna stab me. Yeah, I mean, we have other stress, clearly, but don't discount the other stress. And I think that's a lot of times people forget about that, and they think, oh, I'm gonna work out to squash the stress of my day. I would say I don't want to compare it to something terrible, but it's like having a beer because your day was bad.
Yeah,
It's exercise-induced stress on mental stress. It may feel like it's appeasing, but it's compounding the problems.
We need to
We've
figure
got
it
to work through it. And I'm not telling you not to. You had a bad day, you want to blow off some steam.
Oh, yeah, come
by
on.
all
Do
means.
your thing.
But understand that didn't actually fix it.
No.
And we still got some stuff we got to work through. We're just kind of sweeping that under the rug.
We gotta find the root cause.
We poured adrenaline and dopamine on top of the cortisol.
So now we feel better.
So now we feel better, but the cortisol didn't dissipate.
I'll say
it's still there.
Yeah, as soon as that high wears off,
Again,
it's still there.
Same thing we were talking about caffeine.
Caffeine, yeah.
Caffeine floods and it blocks the receptor, so you're like, oh, I'm not tired. And
Still
then all of a
tired.
sudden caffeine half-life expires, and it's like, oh, I'm really tired.
Still tired. It's
Still just as tired.
kinda masked.
Maybe a little bit more.
Drink a bang and do a workout, my life problems will be fixed.
Yeah.
and they are for that workout,
Yeah.
man.
So we got to stay away from that. Again, do it when you need to do it, but understand that we've got to get down to foundational issues.
Maybe that should be our next video: stress management.
Yeah. Well, our next video is going to be us going over the workouts for the aggregate, so we can put that out. So this is your warning that next week's probably isn't going to be the most of interest to you. We're just going to record.
It's gonna be so
We're
exciting.
going to have a mock setup of each of our workouts.
Subscribe.
We're going to finalize our workouts today and post those out, because at this point registration's closed.
We should just make the last workout that we haven't announced like the worst one. That way, it's like, sorry, man, you already
signed up.
signed up. No takesy backsies.
We are doing Clovis.
30-minute AMRAP of burpees
Yeah.
to a 3-foot target.
Oh, God.
You got to jump on your partner's shoulders. We're going to do partner burpees.
Partner burpees.
It's like cheerleading. You got to like lift them
Toss
and touch
them
the
up.
ceiling.
Oh my gosh. I like that.
Sure, that wouldn't violate any of our insurance clauses. We're not doing that, insurance watcher people.
The insurance guy's like,
I feel
got
like
you this
I
time.
feel like the male-female teams are at a disadvantage with that, though. 'Cause how many?
Yeah, but they're competing against the male-female teams.
It's all good.
Just feel a lot of lifting for
Oh, yeah.
you to probably the male partner.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see. It'd be more interesting to watch the male partners do it.
There's a hero workout that has like a farmer or a partner carry. I don't remember which one it is.
Oh, there's a lot of them that have partner
And it
carries.
was when Lexi and I were doing them all in the morning, and I think she picked that one, and I was like, "Are you sure? Like, you realize how unfair this is, right?" And
Like
she was like,
Grace
"Oh,
had to
it's
carry
fine."
me during the Tough Mudder.
I felt so bad. I was like, man, because I was a beefy boy too. I think I was like 210.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she had just got done being pregnant, so she was just carrying a little bit of weight.
I think it was right before. I don't remember.
Yeah, so to get back on the recovery train. So what is your favorite non-standard recovery, right? So we've talked about sleep, nutrition, hydration. What is one thing that you love for recovery?
Me?
And it can be a product. It can be something you do when you're feeling a little fried.
Yeah. So you probably already know mine. It's the sauna.
Yeah.
I like to, well, my bike or the sauna. So the bike when it's nice outside, like just put my headphones in, and what I've figured out, what I've learned, it only took me 34 years to learn this, is the music. And I think Huberman has an interesting podcast on this, on like how to drop your heart rate after like a super intense workout. But he said, like when I do my recovery rides, I either have to do like slow, chill music, or like a podcast.
Yeah.
And I can usually keep it pretty chill. But what that does, like I go slow, so it's moving all the soreness out, getting some blood flow, getting a little sweat. So mentally it makes me feel good because I know I'm doing something. But it doesn't add to the sore, it doesn't add to the tired. That's when it's like nice outside with some like chill music, something real relaxing. Or the sauna. So when it's poopy outside like this, like we might go to the sauna after this. I haven't decided. I'm gonna do my warm up and figure it out.
I can't afford to pay them right now.
That's so. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Piper?
I like walking Merlin. There's a trailhead, probably about.
Doesn't seem like recovery.
It is recovery.
Yeah, but he's a psycho.
He's
not
crazy.
based on how we opened the video with you getting dragged through the
dragged
mud.
Okay, well that's like
Piper's recovery is more detrimental than her workouts.
that was only a couple feet.
It's only like 3 feet. It's still
And I have
recovery.
I have
Perma-
bruises all over my body from
Perma
it. but-
stained pants. No, but I'll take them on like a longer walk if I really feel like toasty poopy, real awful. Typically, it's my legs. Sometimes it's the chest area when we have high volume push-up days, but typically it's my legs. So I want to move them a little bit, but God would smite me if I got on a bike erg or if I sat down for an extended period of time. So I try to walk Merlin because there's a trailhead just down Old 63 down at the bottom there.
There is. That's
Yeah.
Grindstone Nature area.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
that's where we go.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
we
where
should
we
all
go
meet
too.
there.
Ah!
I always think about it when I'm walking up there, and then I'm just like, well, now I'm already almost up here. Recovery for me, I love a Epsom salt bath. I wish I had a hot tub. I don't. That just goes from all my back surgeries prior to starting CrossFit. Let's see. I got this from Lance Einerson. After a really tough workout, I try to go back to nasal breathing. 2 second inhale, 2 second hold, 2 second exhale.
box
If I can do that for 7 cycles without
breathing
mouth catch up, then I know I'm back where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so I'll try to sit there during a workout and do that. It also gives me, while I'm focusing on the breathing, I'm processing the workout. Chris Henshaw is obviously like, hey, do what just made you tired, but do it really slowly. The exact same movements and lighter. So no matter what we have, bike slower. We did push jerks, do it with PVC. Because you're turning on your slow twitch muscle fibers, which is what clears out all that fatigue. It's going to make your tomorrow better. there's lots of devices, none of which pay me, so I'm not going to mention them. That I'll
Recovery
use
devices.
that are beneficial. I will mention GoWOD because I do get that free as an affiliate owner. I've switched to that from the other one that I was using.
They have a post-workout.
They have
feature,
a
don't
pre
they?
and post one
Remember
that's
Seventh
aligned
Daily?
with a couple of programs. Unfortunately, not ours right
I
now.
don't think they have Mayhem.
And I think Mayhem's creating their own, but we'll see about that. But they also have a daily flow. I had done their pre and post in the last year that I had it, and then this year I decided I'd try the daily. I've been doing the daily. It's new stretches, more creating leverage stretches versus the other app was more
Like passive.
yoga,
Yeah.
yin, passive. And for some of the positions that I don't own, it's really hard to passively.
Because they would have you hold it
Get
for
there.
a long time.
And
wouldn't
it's longer.
it? Like 4 minutes.
Oh my god, GoWOD had me sit in the bottom of a squat for 3.
Really?
I literally was like,
Yeah, I had
dude,
2
My
the other
knees are
day.
going numb. There's no blood flow.
So I've added that. We've got several people that do GoWOD. I think that's great. Those are some pretty simple things that you can do to recover. And again, just you have to have an internal dialogue with yourself and know what's going on, what else you're balancing, and not just workout stress. And just because your schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Wednesday isn't happening this week.
And that's okay.
And that's perfectly fine. We say this with dieting, or I don't even want to say dieting, changing your nutrition and accounting for it and working out and all those other things. It doesn't have to be perfect, and don't let guilt for skipping a workout or having a cheat meal enter,
Throw you
because the guilt,
It's worse.
it's worse.
It's worse than a cheat meal.
It creates stress. It creates anxiety. It creates this dissonance between you and what you say you're wanting. Unnecessarily so. It's not helpful in any way, in my opinion, to get to your goals. Acknowledge, hey, maybe I shouldn't have had that cake.
Yeah.
But I wanted that cake, and I had that cake,
Well,
and
just-
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, be okay with it, and then just maybe
Create a better plan.
get a better plan. Where like, hey, when it's so and so's birthday, like I'm gonna eat some
Yeah.
good stuff before, so I'm not hungry when I get there. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna have 13 pieces of cake.
Don't go to the store super hungry.
Gosh,
If
I do
you're-
that
if-
every
If you're
time.
trying to learn how to have better habits at home, do not go to the store hungry, because
Everything's good when you're hungry.
everything's good, and once it's in the house, it's it's
Oh,
now,
yeah,
and especially if you're
100%.
somebody like me, it's like that's money.
Yeah,
I'm not
100%.
I'm not eating food. I'm saving money.
I'm saving money by eating.
Because if
all
I
of
don't eat
those.
this, I'm going to have to eat something else, and that something else is going to cost me an additional cash outlay.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice on those things. If you're feeling either, I would say, undertrained or overtrained, or you're not sure what to do about where you're at right now, hit us up.
I mean, you literally have years of coaching knowledge and experience sitting in front of this camera. And
Yeah, and just
would be
just
happy to help.
Remember, it's not a sprint.
It's not a sprint. And if you want to be the motocross champion of the world, like
There's a way for CrossFit to help you
we
get
can,
there.
I would say we can get you there, man. We can get you
You're
there.
gonna have to, if your goal is really motocross champion of the world, you're gonna have to have some extra outside help.
Yeah.
We cannot solely get you there.
Yes.
We can be a piece.
We can get you, because I didn't know this, like riding
They're
motocross.
I'm worried about Corey becoming
You-
addicted to
You're
motocross because
You
he brought it up like 4
man.
times.
So you have to be like
You have to be
a
fit.
fit dude. Like everyone I know that's ever did motocross, like they were fit.
Didn't Jamie Windholz?
No, she did BMX.
BMX.
She did BMX. I mean, similar. Motocross is dirt bikes. I
Yeah.
mean, but like we can get you the fitness part of that.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't want to take advice from us on how to ride dirt bikes, since it's been 2 decades since I've been on
I
one.
don't think I've ever
I
been
don't think
on
I've
one.
ever been on one. You should ask Bryce.
Yeah, we'll get you Bryce.
Yeah.
We'll all get you fit, and then Bryce can.
They'll help you with the
And I would just say being fit helps in just about everything.
There's
Whatever
never-
your discipline is. Honestly, being an accountant,
Yeah.
being fit helps.
Well, you're happier. You're
You're
happier.
happier,
You've
your
got more
posture is
energy.
People
better.
look at you, you're like, damn, this guy's
Yeah.
big.
And
Plus, when
you've
you
got
ask
more
the client,
dexterity.
Well, when you ask the client for stuff and you're big,
Yeah.
they're more willing to give you stuff.
There's
If
never.
you're this squirrely guy with little glasses and
Yeah.
not a
they-
muscle on
they
him.
can bully him.
Yeah.
Do you imagine Mike as your loan officer
No, he's so grouchy though.
at his old job?
I've had like several jobs, and there's never been a single job where I was like, that guy's too fit. He doesn't need to work here. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, what do you do?
Yeah, it's always like, hey, bro, how much do you bench?
Yeah.
So get fit, get happy, get after it.
And hit us up if you need help.
Yep. Like, subscribe.
Like,
Smash the subscribe button. Smash the like button.